Hello! So today we are going to talk about early animated film and take a little look at what animation looked like in its beginnings. Now, we are going back in time a little bit, but I promise I planned this timing intentionally to line up with Technicolor and all of that. Oh my gosh, sorry. Every time I start recording, I need to yawn. Okay, so very, very early origins. So animation has its early origins that go hundreds and hundreds to thousands of years back. That can include movement that was portrayed on vases, like in ancient Greece or ancient China, as well as shadow plays. A lot of different cultures have shadow plays, Japan being one that is really common. And as well as early projections that would have negatives of an animation, excuse me, golly, that you could project onto a wall, just like a modern day projector. Another early example in the 19th century, so the 1800s, is one that you have hopefully already created as an activity, which is a thaumatrope. These were toys where you would have a string or a stick that would have a card or an etching with two different images. And when you flipped the images, they would put them together. So if you've played BioShock Infinite, there's an example of the bird in the cage thaumatrope there as well. Also the phenakistoscope, which was which was kind of the first invention that enabled fluid animation. So in the 18th century, there were a lot of experimental projects about trying to get projected animation because it was a lot easier to create a moving fluid animated image than it was to try to capture moving people because of camera technology at the time. So there is a video on Canvas that you guys are going to take a second to watch. You don't need to watch the whole thing, but it's going to give you a look at early animation. A lot of early animation actually started in France. And so at the beginning, you're going to see a lot of different French animation. So go ahead and take a second to watch that video. Okay, so hopefully you paused and you went ahead and watched part of that video. You don't have to watch all of it. So when we move into the 20th century, we start to get more of what we consider to be animation, what looks like animation to us as a modern audience. Maybe not so much with the 3D animation, but with hand-drawn and 2D animation. What's considered to be the first animated film is Humorous Phases of Funny Faces, which was just a series of people making different faces. There's also, oh my gosh, I can't remember it right now, but one of the earliest animated films also featured a dinosaur and his adventures. So after this, cartoons start to become more popular, and familiar characters in the teens and 1920s start to emerge. These are characters that you might be familiar with. Felix the Cat, Betty Boop, characters like this that became really popular. Now, Disney has not entered the scene yet, but they're going to soon. So in 1930, no, that's not right. Warner Brothers was not founded in 1933. Ignore that. That's a past Rachel mistake. So all animation at this time is hand-drawn, but later with the lithograph and eventually Technicolor, they're going to start to add more color so that it's not just black and white animation. So the first distributed Disney film is 1928, Steamboat Willie. And it's also one of the first successful sound synchronized cartoons, meaning it has a soundtrack and even some talking that is synchronized with the movement on screen. As you know from the silent era, this was a really big deal at the time because it was not easy to synchronize sound and movement. This is also the first appearance of Mickey and Minnie Mouse, those iconic characters, and it kind of launched Disney as a household name. So you guys are going to take a second to watch Steamboat Willie, and watch Mickey and Minnie Mouse abuse some animals. That link is on Canvas, so go ahead and pause here and watch Steamboat Willie. Okay, hopefully you paused and you watched. So Next, we're going to look at a clip from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. So this was the first Disney animated feature film, and this kind of kicked off the age of animated features. So before this, animated films were often short. They were like little vignettes, things that would happen. They weren't feature films with an overarching story. So Disney, this really puts Disney on the map. It also shows off the use of Technicolor. And Disney is going to become the only major studio to be releasing big animated features for decades. And obviously I'm talking about America here. Japan was also having its own growth of animation at the time. But this is American cinema, baby. So we don't acknowledge what's going on in other countries. All right, so go ahead and we're going to watch some clips from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and we're going to then consider animation.